and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jody, and if you're not new here, thank you so very much for your continued support. So on my channel, I talk about Broadway and books. And in today's video, I'll be continuing my Broadway show series where I talk about every Broadway show I ever saw over the 20 years I was seeing Broadway shows on a regular basis. And, also known as the best years of my life. I know I keep saying that in all these videos now, but it's become kind of a habit, and it's so very true. So apologize if that gets annoying, but it's a habit now. What can I say? I'm probably gonna say it in every video. So as per usual with the series on my channel, I'll talk about who was in the cast at my performance, who was on the creative team, any favorite songs or moments I had from the show, how I liked the show itself, and anything interesting I may find in the playbill along the way. So without any further ado, let's get on to what show I'll be talking about today. So today I'll be talking about the 13th Broadway show I ever saw, which was the 1999 Broadway revival of Kiss Me Kate. So I did see this show a few years after it had originally opened on Broadway in June 2001 on a bus trip, and before I get on into what is in the playbill, I realized that half the time I don't even mention where these shows played at what theater. So there you go. This show played at the Martin Beck Theater, which is the current home to the musical Moulin Rouge. The theater, though, has since rechanged its name to the Al Hirschfeld Theater. So a bit of a Broadway fun fact for you. And who doesn't love a Broadway fun fact? I know I do. So now let's get on into the playbill. I'm probably going to show the page of the playbill a little longer than I normally do because I'm pretty sure that's why my camera goes out of focus. I don't have the camera focus on it long enough, so hopefully that's the trick to the camera not going out of focus. I really like the page with the credits. I like the font. It's just so bold and lets you know it's there. It's just nice. It's like larger than normal and it's easier to read, honestly. But there you go. And then this is a page with a picture from one of the numbers in the show. I don't know for sure what number this is. If I had to guess, maybe another show, the first number in the production. And then here is the cast list. And for whatever reason the headshots for the cast members are after all the biographies and all the credits. So maybe they put the playbill together backwards, but I don't know. It's unusual, but here we go. So as usual with this series, sometimes I remember who's in the cast, and sometimes I am reintroduced to who's in the cast. So I remembered Burke Moses, Carrie Carmel, and Janine LaManna, two of the leads and one of the supporting cast members. I remembered them off the top of my head being in this show. Who I didn't remember being in the show, I wasn't sure if I had seen them or not, just because they were part of the original production, and a lot of the cast members had left at this point from the original production, because it was a little bit, probably over just under 2 years after the show had opened. Michael Barresi was a part of the original production, and I did get to see him in the show, so that was super cool to learn. As far as did I see any of these performers in other shows afterwards, Burke Moses, this was the only show I ever saw him in, but I did learn by looking in the playbill. He was a part of the original production of Beauty and the Beast on Broadway. He originated the part of Gaston, so that was just super cool to learn. I didn't know that. And then Carrie Carmelo, I saw her in Mamma Mia, Urinetown, Lestat, and Scandalous, for which she was nominated for a Tony Award. But she's done other Broadway shows. I just can't remember off the top of my head, but those are the only ones that I can remember seeing her in at the moment in time. Janine LaManna, this was the only show I had seen her in, have seen her in as well, that I can remember of. I know she was a part of the Seussical musical on Broadway. And Michael Barresi, I did see him in the 2007 Broadway revival of A Chorus Line. And also saw a show called Title Show, which he directed in 2008. And then he was in the Cher Show in 2019, but I'm sure he's done other shows. Just those are the shows I have seen him in. As far as the creative team, several of these members of the creative team, I recognize their names. Robin Wagner was a scenic designer for this show. This person also did the scenic design for Saturday Night Fever on Broadway. And then Rob Asher was associate choreographer. He went on to direct and choreograph The Wedding Singer on Broadway, as well as How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, that revival. I believe that as well. And then Kathleen Marshall was the choreographer for this production. someone who had very well known in the Broadway industry, directed and choreographed several Broadway productions. The only one I can remember off the top of my head, I did see the 2011 Broadway revival of Anything Goes, so they directed that show and choreographed that show as well, I believe. And then Michael Blakemore directed this production. His name sounded familiar to me because there was a show called Copenhagen years ago. Apparently, it was in the same theater season as Kiss Me Kate. It was a stage play. And apparently, he directed. I apologize. He directed Copenhagen, and so I learned by looking in his biography in the playbill, he won a Tony Award for Copenhagen and won a Tony Award for Kiss Me Kate, and they were shows in the same theater season. So I don't know if anyone has ever won a Tony Award for direction of a play and a musical in the same theater season. So that was super amazing to learn because that's super cool. And the show had really great direction, so I can understand why he went for this show. Now for how I like the show. I absolutely like this show. I absolutely love this show. I remember in 2000 watching Tony Awards, and at the time this was a very popular show. Everybody wanted to go see it. It got great reviews, and I'm really glad I got to see it. It was a musical comedy, so it was very lively and energetic and fun, and it was just fun. And it had great choreography, and the costumes were lively and bold and fun as well. And yeah, just a quick story. I went to see this on a bus trip, and most of the time with bus trips, you don't get to choose where you sit. And we were looking. I saw the show with my mom, and we were looking at our tickets, and it said row A or something along. It was row A of like the orchestra. I don't know if that's row A of that theater now, but maybe it wasn't row A. But sometimes they start with row A, sometimes they start with row B. But whatever the case was, it was like of the orchestra, and I'm like, oh my gosh, are we sitting in the front row? And sure enough, those were where our tickets were. So that was my one and only time seeing a Broadway show in the first row of the theater, and I have to say, it's a little too close to the action for me, I have to say, but it was definitely a memorable experience for that reason. But yeah, more of a middle orchestra. That's my preferred spot, not in the middle of the row, but like maybe the end, the aisle seat of the orchestra, like further back, row J or something like that. That's like the sweet spot where you get the best view, but you're not too close to the action. But yeah, a silly story, but memorable experience for that reason. I'll get to the musical numbers. That's all the musical numbers for Act 1. And then the next page is for Act 2. So as far as the score goes, this is a Broadway score that, it's like a show within a show, and I remember that aspect of the production. But also, it's very much musical comedy, like I said. So a lot of the songs were like fun songs. I don't remember a lot of the songs per se. There are a few standouts that I remember all these years later. Another opening, another show is probably one of my favorite first numbers of a Broadway show. It was such a energetic showstopper number. It's just like one you don't forget, and I just remember really liking that number. And then the next one I remember Too Darn Hot. I remember that song, and Brush Up Your Shakespeare. Funny enough, I do not remember how the song Kiss Me Kate goes. I don't remember the melody, the lyrics, nothing like that. But yeah, I don't remember how a lot of the songs go in the show, but I remember the score being nice, and it's been a long time. What can I say? I don't remember everything. It happens sometimes, So as far as what's in the playbill, so I saw the show at the end of June 2001. Now, the last show I talked about in this series on my channel was Rent, that I saw for the second time. I saw that show at the start of the month. So as the playbills go, at least how they were going when I was seeing shows was monthly. So nothing changes within the month in the playbill. So everything that I showed in the playbill in the last video is the same now. I will show the page with, where it says the month and the year, because I just think that's fun to, show. So there, June 2001. And now I'll just let you know which show I'll be talking about next. My 14th Broadway show, which was a stage adaptation of the film The Full Monty, right there in the playbill. So yeah, today I talked about my 13th Broadway show, which was the Broadway revival of Kiss Me Kate. And yeah, so, I just want to say thank you so very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, bye.